And pull up the whiteboard. Oh, the whiteboard. Okay, now the other day, we started on all 6117. Okay, 6162, 7172. That's your Unit 3 test. This is the easiest test, okay? So don't screw it up. So we're going to start on 6-1 today, and we're just going to go through again what I went over and go at a little bit slower pace. Most of you will be able to do it on your calculator, and that's good. And, you know, some of y'all on the calculator drill team, y'all get it knocked out real quick. I'm not going to go through a lot of the handheld stuff. The only handheld that you'd have to do, or I'm sorry, handwriting, would probably be creating a frequency distribution. I went through that the other day with you, so you should be able to handle that okay. I don't ask too many of those questions, so as far as the test goes, I don't think you have to create one. I just wanted to show it to you so you can understand what a frequency distribution, what a probability distribution is. All right, so we're going to bring in an example. No sneezing in class, please. Going to bring in an example, and I know y'all are impressed. There we go. And I want you to write this down, and this will probably be the only one I go over except for questions that you send. There is a frequency distribution, so write that down. Now, what do you do with a frequency distribution? Well, there's a couple of questions you can ask, but I'm going to bring in the one that I ask the most, and that is find the mean and the standard deviation. Because if I told y'all once, I told y'all 100 times, in statistics and probability, what is the most important two numbers? The mean and the what?
Standard deviation.
Standard deviation. So make sure, if you don't get anything out of this class, make sure you can find the mean and the standard deviation of anything, whether it's a set of numbers or a distribution. Now, there's two formulas for the standard deviation, but I do not use both of them. I use the second one. Okay? So I'm just going to black this one out. If you want to be a rebel and use it, knock yourself out. But again, we're not going to have to use it anyway because I'm going to show you how to do it by hand, but we're going to do it in the calculator, and I'll show you how to do it on an Excel spreadsheet when I do it by hand. All right, so write those formulas down, two formulas. And of course, each one of those, let's add them up. 51 and 38 is 89. 89 and 10 is 99. 99 plus 1 cent is $1. So it is a probability distribution because it equals what? 1. Thank you for the interaction. Okay. Is each one of the probabilities between 0 and 1? Yes. 1 cent, 10 cent, 38 cent, and 51 cent. It's between 0 and $1. Okay? So everybody should feel good about this one. Now, I want you to read the formulas. What is the mean? I want somebody to tell me what that means in layman's terms. Don't say summation of x times p of x. That's not what anybody can do that. Tell me what it means. Okay, y'all are still writing. I'll give y'all a few minutes. Or you could say, I don't know, It's called interaction, between two people, I'll shut up. Oh my God, I get so sick of people. So, I think I'm going to quit. I think I'm just going to do away with Facebook. Because of the DADs. I'm not perfect, but I ain't no DA. All right, somebody tell me what that formula says. Layman's terms. Y'all know what layman's terms are?
I have a question about the formula.
What?
Okay, I know I'm blind, alright? I know I need glasses. But it says x squared. What is that before the p? Is that a minus or a plus?
That's a times.
Okay.
Yeah. Multiplication. Multiply. Okay, now what does the first formula mean? This is where I'm asking y'all to use critical thinking and interaction. What is the X column? What is that called? I went over this the other day. It's starts with an E. The E N T. Y'all can't spell event. The event. What is P of X?
Probability
of the event. Okay? All right, we got that down. X is the event. 0 boys. 1 boy, 2 boys, 3 boys. That's the event. The right column is the probability of that event. So, let's go back to the formula now. What does the formula say?
the summation of the event times the probability of the event.
Okay, so what does that mean? You got to have another column beside the P of X. And what's that column going to be called? Remember us going through this with the frequency distribution?
Times P of X?
Good. So you're going to make a column beside the P of X, and it's going to be called what? X times P of X. So do that, and do it in your calculator. I'll do the first two for you. The first one's 0, the second one's 0.1. Isn't that amazing how I can do that in my head? Y'all are just a ball of fire this morning, aren't you? Give y'all a free day and y'all just go to pot. Y'all won't even talk to me.
It's very early in the morning.
Huh?
It is very early.
There is this thing that y'all need to get used to. Does anybody know what it's called? Life.
Caffeine.
Well, you don't have it. Where's your caffeine? You need chia seeds. That's what you need. You need chia seeds. What?
Is your night class more interactive?
Oh my gosh, we have a ball in my night class. Oh gosh, we have so much fun. If y'all watch the videos, I mean, we have so much fun in that class. It's a constant laughing and talking, and it's just hilarious. Chia. Y'all ever had chia seeds before?
Oh, yeah.
No, you don't know how to mix them.
It's so gelatinous and thick.
No, that's not gelatinous. It's called water.
Well, when you soak them in there and then
Well, when the water is more than the seeds, it doesn't get gelatinous.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I'm not a good college.
You're a loser.
That's why I'm in this class. I need to learn.
I know. You already had me one semester in 120. Now, I mean, did you have 103?
Yes.
Yes. Y'all need to take 103 next. That's what I tell all my 120 students, take my 103, because the first 2 units in 103 is the first 2 units in this class. So it's a easy class. And then you get educated on real life with interest, savings accounts, and income tax. You get really educated. Don't you?
Yes.
a lot of students in my 103, they go,
It's so much easier than this class.
Two, if I was superintendent, by the time you graduated Westside or Hannah, you would have 2 business classes under your belt. I would make it mandatory. And one of them would be mostly income tax. So that way, when you get out in the real world, you know what the government's taking from you. Because right now, 80% of the population don't know what the government's taking. You keep them stupid, you can control them. I'm a firm believer of that. You'd be surprised on how many students in my 103 class. When I have 30 students, 20 of them have no idea. When they buy a car, they have no idea they're paying twice the amount in interest. When they buy a house, they have no idea they're paying almost twice. For a $100,000 house, they're paying about almost $200,000 for that house. They have no idea. It's sad, but it's true. But it's more important that we learn the first this and the first that. That's more important. All right, so I'm going to take my handy-dandy Excel spreadsheet. I'm just going to do it on the Excel spreadsheet first, then we'll do it on the calculator. Y'all don't get excited, okay? Y'all just settle down. Y'all have to tell me what, I know let me blow it up where y'all can actually see it. There we go. And at least y'all learning how to use the spreadsheet a little bit, maybe. I don't know if they teach y'all that. I don't know. X, 0, 1, 2, 3. And P of X, what was those numbers? 0.01, 0.1, 0.38, and 0.51. Okay, so now we're going to do X times P of X. And that's pretty simple. Like I said, the first 2 I did in my head. It's a miracle. Times, I said that one time, and about the 3rd problem we went over, one student said, "Oh, I see what you're talking about now." Might have been my neighbor, the one that said 1 to the 29th power in the calculator. Did I tell y'all that story? I didn't? I didn't tell y'all the story about the calculator, Mama. She called me up, raising all kind of sin. I paid for this $150 calculator and it's putting out the wrong answers. Okay? So I get in the car and I go up there. And I say, okay, what are we doing? And the student was in like pre-algebra. Her daughter was in pre-algebra. And she goes, "Show us how to use this calculator. It doesn't work. It's wrong." And she was mad. I said, "Well, what are you trying to do?" And she said, "Here's the problem." And it was 1 to the 29th power. Y'all with me? 1 to the 29th power is what? She was thinking it was 120 or 29. It was either 129 or 29. She was thinking it was 29 or 129. And the calculator kept putting out 1. So how do you handle that situation? How do you tell your neighbor that? I don't know what you tell them, but I worked it out. I just smiled first. I just went, okay, let's see what the problem is.
I'm going to show you. It's going to be tough for you.
Yeah. So I handled it quite well, I think. Now what are we going to do? Total equals the summation of all those numbers. And that, my friend, is your what? That's your mean. The mean is equal to the total of X times P of X. So 2.39 is your mean. Of course, you would not say 2.39 because the only event that you have is 2 and 3. So which one is it closer to? 2. So out of all the births that created this distribution, the average number of births is what? 2. Whether it's 2 boys or 2 girls, the average is 2. Okay, now let's find the standard deviation. What do you mean standard deviation? Well, let's go back to our handy dandy. Read the formula. What are we going to do? What is the only thing that we do not have? Look at the formula and tell me. I'm going to take my handy dandy yellow highlighter or whatever color. What is the only thing we do not have? Well, we got summation, we got x, we got mean, we got p of x.
Mean square.
Good job. So you got to make another column. Why am I telling you to read the problem? I meant the formula. Because the formula will tell you what? What you need. So make another column, x squared. Then I'm going to just slide this over here a little bit. This is going to go away, but so I'm going to go over here. I'm going to make x squared right here because I'm going to put p of x beside it. No, you don't have to. I'll just go x squared. And it's going to equal this guy. Make sure you pick the right column. Raised to the second power. Now you have to be careful when you're using the Excel spreadsheet or your paper, or because sometimes you'll pick the wrong column, not because you can't read, just because of human error. All right. So over here, take my handy dandy formula. I need x squared times what? P of x. So I'm going to take my handy dandy column and I'm going to call it x squared times P of x. And I'm going to take x squared, and this is where you have to be careful, times P of x. And what are we going to do with that? We're going to add it what? Add it up. Let's go back to our formula. Now what are we going to do with the summation of x squared times p of x? We're going to subtract what? The mean squared. Okay? So let's take, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to put standard deviation is equal to, and I'm going to take this number, 6.21 minus parentheses 2.39 raised to the what? Second power unit. And that's your answer. 0.5. All right, I need everybody to write that down because we're going to do it in the calculator now. So you might want to get your handy dandy calculators out. So what do you do with your calculator? Well, you take your calculator and you hit Stat, Edit, and punch those numbers in, X and Y. X and P of X. Type them in. 0, 1, 2, 3. I suck at the calculator because I never use it. 0.01. And that's not a bad thing. If you suck at using a calculator, that is not a bad thing. 0.38 and 0.51. Just like I read an article yesterday that explains why I forget all the time. Y'all read that article? I think it was on Facebook. You forget all the time because that means you're more intelligent.
Oh, yeah.
So you forget things more.
How does that make sense?
I don't know. Maybe I think it's along the lines of your mind is so busy that you forget things. I don't know. That's what they were trying to say in the article. the more scatterbrained you are, I guess. I don't know. But it made me feel good for a couple of seconds. Say again? Yeah, that's what I would think. But I don't know.
Maybe the Russians are trying to tell us.
The Russians are hacking in after they beat you up. It's after they beat you up, throw you in the van. That's when your mind starts going. But get ready, because 2020, they're going to probably do it again. They're going to probably beat you up and throw you in the back of a van, tell you who to vote for. All right, so what I hit next? I hit stat. I hit calculate. And first variable statistic. L1. Now, some calculators automatically default, and I tell you all this every time we do this, but I don't trust it, so I just go ahead and hit L1 and L2. And that's shift 1, shift 2, and enter. Look there, 2.39. Write that down, because that's what we just found. 2.39, dang old right there. That's your what? That's your mean. So let's find your standard deviation. Okay, we got something wrong because it's supposed to be 0.7. Must have done something wrong. Right there, see the little sigma? It's 0.71, so we've done something wrong. I don't know what we've done wrong. Let me check the example and see if it's supposed to be 0.7. I've done these like 100 times. I don't know what I did wrong. Yep.
You forgot to square root it.
Thank you. I got the variance. Thank you, sir. I forgot that. What is the relationship? God, don't that scare you when that voice just comes out of nowhere? I'll never forget the first time that happened. It was in room 236 down here, and I was doing that, and this woman was Skyping in, and her dog started barking, and her dog must have been right beside her, and it scared everybody to death. I thought it was funny, but it still don't beat the boyfriend. It still don't. Who the hell are you talking to? Oh my gosh, that's only one. Poor girl, I feel sorry for her. Anyway, okay, I didn't take the square root. Thank you, sir. Yeah, that's why I tell y'all, girls, these indicators, watch them, so you don't end up with somebody like that. All right, let's go back to the handy-dandy Excel spreadsheet. And I'm sorry, that's not the standard deviation. That's called the what? The variance. The standard deviation is equal to that raised to the what? 1/2 power or 0.5 power. Thank you, Mr. Woodard. See, I forgot. See, that means I'm intelligent. All right, 0.71. I'm being facetious. There you go. So now you can pull up your handy-dandy calculator and you can find there's your mean, and there is your standard deviation. Now, what if you put the numbers in and your number is above 1, or you have a negative probability? Will the calculator do it? No. If it does, it's going to give you an error or an error, depending on where you're from, or it's going to give you some crazy number. Capiche? And that's one question that you'll be dealing with. So I'm going to give you one more and make sure you can do it, okay? So let's do 0.21, 0.39. That's what? That's 60%. And 0.35. Oops. 0.35. And how much is that? That's 39. That's 674. 95.05. Let's check that right quick and make sure it's equal to 1. Yep. All right, I want you to go through and do it by hand. I want you to take these two. That's what's given. Write those down, and I want you to do it by hand on your notebook, so you'll have 2 problems in your notebook. If you need to do it by hand, you'll have it by hand. And then I want you to do it on your calculator. Or if you do have a laptop, then do it on your laptop. Well, I did see Captain Marvel on the Fire Stick last night. Didn't come up though, but I guess it opened yesterday. Did it?
I think
Last
actually,
night was the midnight previews for people who work at theaters to check in.
Oh. You work at a theater?
That's true, but I have a lot of friends who do this. So.
Oh, darn. Well, I was going to get this up, but that's all right. So what's Captain Marvel's story? How did she get her powers? Anybody know? I'm not a comic
I've
book
never
person.
even heard of her.
I've never heard of her either.
I think she's a mutant.
Is she a mutant?
That's, yeah, I believe
Oh, so she's part of the X-Men, or?
I want to say.
She's not part of it.
Oh, she's not? She's just somebody that went through something and she got special powers.
Like a mutant
It's
that,
better than a 9mm and a bow and arrow.
it's she's like some mutant that time traveled.
Oh, I love time travel movies. That's the only non-horror films I like. I love time travel. Like The Time Traveler's Wife. You ever seen that movie?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Butterfly Effect.
Back to the Future.
Yeah, I like it, but it's not one of my favorites. But I do like it because of the time travel. I do like that.
The only reason I say time travel,
Mhm.
Captain Marvel, because we see young Nick Fury.
Yeah, I was fixing to say, but maybe that's because she's like old as crap.
I didn't think that was time travel. I thought it was set in like 1998.
It might have been not time travel. It might have been just because they do that in the Marvel comics. They go back to, like they did that for the guy that needs a girlfriend real bad. What's his name? Captain America. They should have kept that girlfriend in the picture because he needs one real bad. And maybe a bottle of Jack Daniels. He needs those 2 things. I'm gonna try to make moonshine next. That's the next thing on my list. Have y'all ever seen Moonshiners?
Yes.
Oh God, I love that show. I recorded that, and I record Gold Rush, and I record. Oh gosh, Oh gosh, making knives. Can't think of the name of it.
Anyway.
Anyway.
The show where they compete to make the knives?
Yeah.
The sword?
It's either fire or iron.
No, it's called Forged in Fire.
Yeah.
There we go. I had to think of it. See, I'm forgetting. See, that's another example. I'm intelligent.
There's only one kind of moonshine I know, that's from Red Dead Redemption.
That's what?
From Red Dead Redemption. There's this only one, that's the only kind of moonshiner I know from.
From what?
Red
It's a
Dead
video
Redemption.
It's a game.
Yeah.
What's happening with Sean?
Well, you have to watch Moonshiners. I'm still studying it. I'm still studying it.
Well, this
My uncle was a moonshiner. Okay, he was notorious in the land of Belton. Anybody from Belton? Belton.
This summer flavor is apple and cherry.
Actually, they are making in
Is it
moonshiners.
only watermelon?
Yeah. And in fact, last night's episode, they made watermelon jalapeno.
Oh, yeah, no.
And a lot of people, have you ever had pepper jelly, jalapeno pepper jelly?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. You put that with cream cheese, you can eat a whole jar of it. I mean, just, oh my gosh, that's good. But anyway, I'm going to learn how to do it. And y'all just all, by the time I learn how to do it, y'all will be of age and just come see me and I'll hook you up. And I'm just going to make $1 million selling moonshine.
Have you ever made mead before?
I ever make what?
Mead?
No.
Is your version of how to make it?
Yeah, I love that commercial where the guy says, I'd like to have some mead, and they throw him out of the freaking bar. I think they ought to just throw him out, not put him in stocks, but just throw him out. There's always what? There's always one. There's always one. Okay, did y'all get it?
Yeah.
What did it come out to be? Come out to be the same? No, the.
I think I did it wrong.
Let me see, make sure I did it right, because this. Is it the same? No, 0.7 was the standard deviation. Okay, I was making sure. Whew. Looks like that's about right. Yes, sir.
Explain the variance again.
Explain what?
Explain the variance.
The variance is basically something that we don't use very much, but that is the formula. I'm sorry, I told y'all wrong on this right here. This is the variance. The inside of the radical is the variance. See, I forgot to take the square root. Okay? And just like all variance and standard deviations, the relationship between the variance and the standard deviation is the standard deviation is the square root of the variance. If you're given the standard deviation and they ask you to find the variance, you square it. So if you wanted to find, if they gave you on a standardized test 0.8381 and said, what is the variance, you would square this. If they gave you 0.7024 on the test, you would take the square root of it. So somebody take 0.8381 on your calculator and raise it to the second power. What do you get? Okay, so that's the relationship between the variance and the standard deviation. Do you use the variance a lot? No. Now, in your third and fourth level mathematics with research and probability and statistics, you will use the variance, but not in a first level. First level, it's just a variance.
Could you show us how to find again if we don't have the variance or the standard deviation?
Say the first part of your question again.
Can you show us how to find the variance again?
The variance is right here. There's the variance. You take x squared times p of x. So you take this column. Let me take that column, and you multiply it by this column. And when you multiply those two columns together, you get this column. And we'll color that one.
Wait, wouldn't it be the second column?
Say again?
Wouldn't it be the second column and the fourth
I'm
column?
sorry. See, I just did it. You got to watch that. I just did what I told y'all not to do. Don't pick the wrong column. Thank you, sir. It's the second column, yes. Take the second column and multiply by the x squared column, and then you will get this column right here. And then you add up all those numbers, and that gives you the variance. I'm sorry, not the variance. You got to take the minus. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Now you take that number and you subtract 1.24 raised to the what? Second power. And how do you know that? Read the formula, okay? Read the formula, because that tells you what to do. So 2.24 minus 1.24 squared is equal to that right there, 0.70. Y'all check me, make sure that's right. But it should be 0.7024, and then of course you take the square root of that.
I got 0.702244.
Okay? Well, let me check it. Equals this number minus this number raised to the second power, parentheses, let me put parentheses, go away, parentheses right there, 7024, 8381. Let's check the handy dandy calculator. Stat. And like I said, the reason I'm going through these two problems is so you can do it either by hand, by the Excel spreadsheet, or by the handy dandy calculator. See, I'm not anti-calculator. I use calculator, but I just don't want you to like name it and make its own little bed and stuff with it, and that's weird, okay? 0.39, 0.35, and 0.05. And now what? Hit stat and calculate and first variable statistic and second L1, comma, second L2, and enter. 0.8381. What'd you get again?
I fixed it. It's because I didn't round up the standard deviation. I just wrote it.
And I'm pretty lenient with that on a test, but make sure you get the homework. Adjust your homework. In other words, if you get it wrong and the answer says you're 100th off, then go back and do the problem and do it that way. But on the test, I will be lenient. But if it does say round to the nearest thousandth and you're rounding to the nearest hundredth all the way through the problem, I'm not going to give you credit because you're not doing what the directions say. So just make sure you follow the directions. Question, gripe, complaint. Okay, now let's look at the remainder of the unit, and I'll just do this right quick, and we're just going to look and see what we're going to go over Tuesday. So you can write it down or look at we already went over that. Let's see, probability distribution. There's a good probability distribution. We already talked about that. Already talked about the test. This one is not, because it equals what? 0.97. It does not equal 1, so that is not. This one is not. This one is. So they just give you a little example. Yes, sir.
The last one, that negative. If it's a negative, can we automatically mark it out?
Yeah, and if it's not equal to if it's not equal to 1, you can mark it out. And you may get a homework question or a test question that asks you, is this a probability distribution? And you have to do those two tests. Okay. I'm not going to ask you to graph, but you can graph it. All you got to do is put it in your calculator and hit the stat plot, y second y is equal, and do stat plot. I showed y'all how to do that with the scatter plot, so you should be able to do that. But I don't ask that. There's our mean formula. We already covered that. Found the mean. I don't do that. I want to get to the standard deviation. Okay. Okay, write this question down right quick. Why do I want you to write this question down? Because this is a question that is on all standardized tests. I don't ask this question. It may be a homework question. But basically, it is called the expected value. Okay? The event times the probability plus the event times the probability. That's basically what it is. And the way they ask this question, you stare at it for 15 minutes, and then what do? You go to the next problem. Because the way they write it, you don't have any idea what to do. The first thing you ask yourself with is, what is the meaning of life? No. What happens at the end of your life? You either live or you what? Die. Okay? So there's a 50-50 probability that you may walk out of this room today and get hit by a bolt of lightning. Okay? There is a possibility. All right? So that means you either live every day or you die every day. To the insurance companies, that's it. You either live or you what? Die. Okay? Now the insurance company, that's the probability. But it says right here, it says the probability of a female surviving is 0.997, boom. They just give you the probability. So what's the complement? What's the complement of living? Dead. Okay? So what's the probability of dying? 0.00. So you have two probabilities. All right? Probability of living, 0.99791. Probability of dying, 0.00209. Why is the probability of a female living so high? Because they don't have testosterone. That's why. Think about it. How many stupid videos do you see on YouTube have women jumping off the top of a building? Only DAs. And DAs usually are what? Men. Now, you do see every once in a while a woman dancing on a coffee table, and the coffee table falls through or turns over. But that's the little bit of testosterone that women have in them. Okay, all women have testosterone in them. A little bit. That's the ones that get on the coffee table and turn over. Okay? I thought that would at least get some laugh out of it, but I guess not. This is a dead class. So, all right. So if you survive, if you do not die, you are out. Or from your perspective, you paid $530 for your what? For your life insurance policy. You paid that. Now, if I'm looking at a loss for me, that would be minus. If I'm looking at a loss for the insurance company, then it would be a plus because they are bringing that money what? In. They are bringing that money in for the insurance company. This is from the insurance company's perspective. So that $539 or $530, is that positive or negative? It's positive because the insurance company is bringing it what? In. Okay, it's income for the insurance company. So what would be negative for the insurance company? If you die. If you die, they pay out to your beneficiaries, or Mr. Krabs. Remember that Mr. Krabs signed beneficiary for Squidward? Okay, forget it. Yeah, y'all don't watch Squidward. It's racist. I mean, not Squidward, SpongeBob. It's racist. Oh, no, what was it? Don't say what. Oh, yeah, the right-wing crazy said that SpongeBob and Patrick Star were gay.
They're neighbors.
Listen, these people are nuts, okay? You got the people on the 10% on the left that are nuts, and then you got 10% on the right that are nuts.
On the right?
Yeah. You know what they are? They're called Ku Klux Klan. They're crazy. And then you also got the people that say that Bert and Ernie are gay.
No.
Bert and Ernie are puppets, okay? I'm sorry, Muppets. Yeah, you have 10% on the right, too, that are nuts. The other 80% of the population are like us, normal. You know, whether you don't believe that Bert and Ernie are gay and you don't believe that everybody's racist.
They're the outliers.
Yeah.
You don't hear about that 80%. You only hear about the 20.
You only hear about the 20% that fight all the time. That's all you hear. Okay, so what do? You take $530, that's the event of you living, and you multiply that by 999,791, plus the probability of you dying multiplied by the payout for the insurance. So the insurance company basically is expecting $7.50 out of this transaction. Okay? That's the expected value of this policy. because there is a chance that you may die. Now, they bring in $530. What are they going to do with that $530? They're going to invest it. So therefore, the 25 years that you're expected to live, or the 35 years you're expected to live, that $530 each year that you pay, or each month that you pay, it's going in your fund, and they're investing it. And then if you die, they're going to take some of that money. If there's money in there, they're going to take that money to pay it off. It's not just going to magically grow into $250,000. You see what I'm saying? They've got to put it in something to make it grow. It's just like a big savings. It's like a glorified savings account. Some of y'all are like, really? Yeah, really. So make sure you know how to do that. And the table is the best way to do it. Survive, this is the event. This is a probability distribution. Event, probability of the event. And that's it. And you're finding basically the mean. Yes, sir.
Are these PowerPoints available for us? Or is it just for you?
I guess I could. I don't know. I've never tried that. That's something else I need to try to do. I could try it. See if I could do it. I'll try to do it after class, okay?
Okay.
Just always wanting something.
Okay, can you go back 1 second?
No, I'm going on. Here you go. Oops, sorry. Thought I there. Okay, y'all are going into convulsions. Let me check the time. I don't know why y'all going into convulsions. What time's class over?
9:45.
Yeah, why y'all going into convulsions? Okay. Maybe it's medication. Maybe y'all need to take y'all's medication. Twitching, going into convulsions. All right, you got this? There is standard deviation. We've already talked about it. I'm not going to go into that. I use the second one. I do not use the first one. I use the second one. Okay? Capiche? And they want you to find and we're not going to do this. You can write this. I tell you what, write this one down, and you can do it for a third problem. Do it at home for homework. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then write down those, and you can do they're probably going to give you the answers on the next slide. You can actually do it. Huh? Don't say bless you. That's racist. No, it's not. That's let's see. What is it when you're misogynist or anti-Semitic? No, it can't be anti-Semitic. Trying to think of which one it falls into.
What is anti-Semitic?
Anti-Semitic, anti-Israel. Ain't that what it's called?
I was saying bless you that.
I said, no, you can't do that. I said that after I said that. This must be, like you said, xenophobic.
Yeah, misogynist.
Misogynist. No, misogynist is against women.
Let's say a girl told like,
Xenophobic, that means you're against, no, that means you're, I'm getting all of them confused. Maybe I need to ask Bert and Ernie. Okay, everybody got this one? Bert and Ernie can guide me. Or SpongeBob and Squidward. Or SpongeBob and, well, Patrick's a dumb dog craps. I don't like Patrick. I think they ought to run over him with a steamroller.
What should I have?
I think they ought to have a Squidward show. Squidward is the man. Squidward is so funny. Especially when he, I hate people, people hate me. Now, there is what we just did. Okay? Go ahead and write down your, there's the standard deviation right there, 0.9327.
You want us to write this down?
No, don't write down, just write down the answer. 0.9327, that's the mean. You need to add up x times p of x. They don't have x times p of x, do they? So you'll have to do the mean. And I don't know what the mean is, but just write down 0.9327, because if you can get 0.9327 for the standard deviation, then you've done everything else right. Okay, so the problem, there is the problem. I told you to write it down. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0.06, 0.58, 0.22, 0.10, 0.103, 0.01, and this is the standard deviation, 0.9327. Do it on your calculator, do it by hand, or do it on the Excel spreadsheet. Doesn't matter, as long as you get 0.9327. And you've got the other two problems that we did to, use an example. I'm just going through this. Okay, this is when you have to, and we're going to save this for the next class. But if tell you what, we'll just stop at 6.2 because I just covered 6.1 basically. All right, any questions? Did I call the roll Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay, I'll just say everybody's here today. Y'all get out of here and have a good day. See y'all work on 6.1. If you want to try to work on 6.2, you can. If not, just be lazy the rest of the weekend. See you later, Mr. Woodard.
See you Tuesday.